Hey everybody. So I'm enjoying this awesome soup that I made in my baby bowl. It might be too hot for me. I'm not trying to brag, but homemade bone broth is way better than any bone broth that you can get in the store. So I'm just gonna bowl it up while I talk to you a little bit about what I was saying we discovered recently. So, thank you. The kids are packing some things in the living room. So I found out recently after doing some, not even on the camera. I found out recently after doing some extensive testing for our family that our family has some pretty major food sensitivities. And I think, like I was mentioning, it can be a bit overwhelming when you find out that it's not just like a personal choice that, you know, these would be good things to eat or cut out or whatever, but that you need to do it for your health. So that's kind of where we're at. I was hoping to wait until we moved down to Missouri and we were living on the farm and I could really kind of transition into living this, you know, more holistic life. And in the meantime, I was like, it's okay if I, like, you know, go to Dunkin' Donuts every day for an iced coffee, say hello, hi. Clara, I'm making your soup, okay? I made your favorite. So it's okay if I go to Dunkin' Donuts every day for iced coffee, and it's okay if I, like, you know, stop at the drive-through for stuff, because we're in survival mode right now, right? And I was kind of not ready mentally to make a big shift towards everybody eating with, like, all these restrictions and everything. Which is weird because I knew from personal experience how beneficial an elimination diet can be. And I use that word diet just meaning like way of eating, not diet like restrictive eating. Because a lot of you know that I did the Arbonne's 30 Days to Healthy Living program about 2 years ago. Had wonderful results with it. It was such an amazing program. I highly recommend it. And then I followed it pretty closely for a number of months, and then I got to the point where we kind of lived like an 80-20 rule, and I knew it really benefited me, and I knew that it benefited our family, and I knew that it brought a lot of health to our family. I knew it was really healing to Sean's gut. I knew that it reduced a lot of inflammation in my body. I knew it was wonderful, but I felt like in some ways like it was like a personal choice to eat this way, and it wasn't like, I don't know, I just kind of feel like right now we've reached like a different level where I do realize like how damaging what we're eating is for our bodies. And so I think some of you know that Ava over earlier this year, she had developed like a big bullseye rash, and she had an acute case of Lyme disease, which is like super common around here. A lot of people have Lyme or have history of Lyme, and I don't know one family that hasn't been touched by it in one way or another, and that's not an exaggeration. And so because she was like one of many in our family that have kind of struggled with different tick related diseases, we made the decision to seek out a Lyme literate doctor. And I didn't really know what that meant at first. I think like over the years, I kind of heard that term tossed around and I didn't know what that meant. I just figured it was somebody that, I don't know. I didn't realize like how extensively they knew so much more about Lyme than our regular doctors that we go to. So I got a number of good recommendations, and we ended up going to this doctor that's kind of a ways away, but who had an excellent recommendation, had been super helpful for some people and had very, very good reviews. So he took us on as a patient for Ava, and she had acute Lyme at that point. And we had really a lot of benefit from going through him, but we discovered at one point that she most likely had some other stuff going on. I had suspected this for kind of a long time, and I tried to talk to like our regular doctors about it and neurologists and stuff, and I didn't really get like a lot of support. You know, I think they don't see you for very long during these visits, and so I suspected there was some other stuff going on with her that was affecting her neurologically, and I was noticing a lot of symptoms getting worse. And for people that kind of know us in our daily life, they also had kind of seen and experienced what she struggles with, and we knew that there was a good chance that there was other stuff going on, that she might have some dietary restrictions and stuff that were affecting her, but we really didn't know like what. And we were it was kind of like a shot in the dark. We knew that if we were going to look at this, that we wanted to get some really definitive answers. So we were going to wait, because the testing that we were recommended to do was pretty expensive, because your healthcare coverage doesn't typically cover it, which is strange, you know, but it is how it is. And so we finally made the decision to just pay for it out of pocket, because it wasn't fair to her to continue struggling with the way she was, and the other kids that we suspected were also struggling with certain things. If we could help them, it wasn't fair to them. So we made the decision to have the testing done. We had some blood work and urine tests taken, and they did a major food panel test. They looked at, he basically said it's like the one place he'll go to for a tick panel, because the ones that they usually send people out for to test for tick diseases are not accurate or not thorough enough, and they oftentimes show up as there not being something there when there can be. And then we also looked at mycotoxins, other organisms and stuff, and we just figured if we're going to do it, let's just look and see what's going on. So all this came back, all the results, when we were in Missouri. We ended up getting the results back, and I ended up having multiple appointments to talk to this doctor about all the testing that came back. I mean, these were hundreds of pages of testing. I think we went over like 600 pages of testing between the 6 of us. And it turns out that all of us, all 6 of us, have major food sensitivities, and then like a number of minor ones. But probably the biggest ones that we're looking at eliminating on a daily basis would be that nobody can eat, has major intolerances to wheat and gluten. Almost everybody can't handle dairy. And then some of us, not all of us, but I'd say half, can't handle corn, which is in everything. And so, and then a number of us have issues with egg, or a different part of egg, some with egg whites and some with egg yolks. So basically like wheat, dairy, corn, and egg are in pretty much everything. And then we have all these random other sensitivities cropping up that he did mention that if we were to really get the major ones under control, some of those other minor ones don't end up causing as many problems. Those sensitivities sort of start to go away. Everybody has leaky gut, and everybody has Lyme disease and a number of other co-infections like that go with the Lyme. So some have like Bartonella and Babesia, and then Plasmosis and Toxoplasma, and all these other, like they're all a slew of them. And then everybody has some type of mold exposure. And by mold exposure, I don't mean like how people normally think of it, like, so that it comes from different sources. So they're all different. Everybody's test came back different. There are some overlaps, but hi. I could not look at their faces every day and not figure out what was going on with them. So all those answers came back, and this poor doctor, he was so nice, but he basically was like, well, you guys hit the mother load, and it's sort of the way I felt when we had You have a ball? I love you.
It's a bouncy ball.
It's a bouncy ball. It's sort of the way I felt when we went to the neurologist and I found out like how many of the kids were struggling with a number of like neurological issues. So when we got to the last of the reports, we realized that some of our kids really can't wait for us to make these dietary changes because they're really struggling with the level of like the sensitivities that they have and how much they're being affected by them. So we know we're like heading into the holidays. We haven't cleaned everything up, but I started looking for like just like gluten-free stuff or dairy-free stuff or corn-free stuff. Like it's in everything. I suddenly felt like the grocery store got like microscopically small. You'd go through the cereal aisle where it seems like there's like a million cereals. And not even to mention sugar, you know, but there's like one or two cereals we can have. Nope, you can't have that. Go show that to Eva. You know, so all these aisles that seem like they're loaded with food or there's so much stuff that's offered, you start realizing how much of it you can't eat. Anyhow, so I figured we cannot possibly be the only people that are struggling with this. And with a family of 8, it is like super expensive to buy all the specialty items, which I'm so grateful that like we get to move onto a farm and raise our own food and make our own food. And my husband was able to retire and we'll be able to do, you know, just make this big transition as a family, and I have his support, and I realize that's rare. So I wanted to show some of you that might be struggling with the same thing, some of the things we found, so that you could keep an eye out for them. So I'm going to kind of run back and forth off the camera because I'm not organized. I just discovered Aldi's, which I have never been to before until today, and I was surprised with how many options there were. So I would go through like the ingredient list and I would realize like, oh great, this looks like a really good thing. And then I realized like one of the trigger foods that we can't have was part of it. So these are some of the things that I found that we can eat. So I've got this pumpkin seed and flax granola cereal and this coconut chai granola cereal from Aldi's. And the plan is that I'm going to have that with these yogurts. I will eventually learn how to make my own dairy-free yogurt, but this is a dairy-free yogurt that I've tried on all the kids and they all like it. So that would be a good healthy breakfast. There are like really good gluten-free waffles, but I did end up getting a waffle iron and I'm just going to end up eventually making my own, because breakfast foods really become very limited when you have all those restrictions. So those were helpful. Rice Chex and like Rice Krispies or Cocoa Krispies were like a big hit. They're not quite low on the sugar area, but they are something that the kids can eat. Thank you, Mary. So I found these gluten-free bagels. We have not tried them yet, but these are at Aldi's. So this is a cinnamon raisin. This is a plain. So I figured I can use those not just for bagels, but to make breakfast sandwiches for the kids that can eat eggs. And then I found this. This is turkey sausage, gluten-free turkey sausage that was at BJ's. I found a bunch of these things, snack type things at Aldi's. So the packages are super small, but they are good, like with like a cup of tea or something. So these are coconut cashew crisps. And these were coconut cashew crisps. These are sea salt caramel. And this one was vanilla. And so I tried them on my kids and I was surprised at how much they liked them. We were kind of bummed because they were big pretzel eaters. So they couldn't have pretzels. So we found these grain-free pretzels there as well. And these cauliflower cheddar crackers. And these ones that are just sea salt cauliflower crackers. My baby asked for them multiple times. So they were a hit. Of the things that were in like the ready to serve area, I was able to find these. We're pretty close to clean. You know, there were some things that I probably wouldn't like in them, but for the most part, this was a good like quick meal that we can make with like avocado and put over some rice. And that's, sometimes I just need something fast. That's a better option than obviously the drive-through, which is impossible. And then I found these gluten-free wraps that don't have cornstarch in them and don't have eggs in them. So I found spinach, and I found these ones, the original ones, and so they can be used for roll-ups. And like I said, maybe half of our family can't have eggs, so for those that can, they still can, or they can have just like cold cut roll-ups. So I picked up just like some cleaner meat, so I can make stuff on my own. And a lot of the stuff that's from Primal Kitchen are really good, like dressings and marinades that you can use when you're seasoning your meat. Sean grabbed this for me, so just having on hand like good stuff that I can make with dinner is helpful, and finding stuff that's more nutrient dense. So I had ground turkey, ground beef, and then we get the Applegate cold cuts if we get anything. So this is just Black Forest ham, the Applegate roasted turkey breast, which are great for roll up, pepperoni, and getting some protein into them. And then this is, Sean had grabbed just a boneless pork loin, so I'll make that for dinner too. And I just want to do more food prep so that we're not falling back into bad habits. One of the things they can have is apple cider. And then this particular company, I was really glad to see that they had gluten-free. I have not tried their food, but it's called Saffron Road. So they did have like a curry that looked really good, but it had dairy in it that we couldn't eat. But this one, the chicken pad thai with rice noodles, was gluten-free and dairy-free. And so that was really good because I love pad thai. And then, although this isn't organic, this is also gluten-free. The Goya fried plantains. There are a number of things that like we would go to try, like potatoes or hash browns or something like that, and it would have corn flour in it. And to show like how sensitive they are to corn flour, or anything corn related, I made a couple of soups recently that I've made many times before. And the only difference was that instead of hand making my own like taco seasoning for it, I used like a pre-made taco seasoning mix. And Sean would have it and he would get sick every time he ate it. And he was like, why do I feel so sick? He'd have like really bad indigestion, heartburn and everything. And I was like, you've had this so many times before and it didn't cause a problem. And I realized that I ran out of the taco seasoning that I used to make, that I got the recipe from Arbonne's 30 Days to Healthy Living program. And I was just using like a pre-made one. And when I looked at the ingredients, cornstarch was in it, and he literally can't handle it. Like it just makes him feel so sick immediately. And the same thing like with certain foods, if he has it, and they're using corn oil or something like that, just can't use it. So I have to make that stuff myself. We got a whole bunch of produce. I got like peppers and cucumbers and grapes and snap peas and celery and certain salad mixes. Ironically, like certain lettuces, some of the kids can't eat. Go figure. So I have a whole bunch of that as well, so that they'll have a whole bunch of fresh fruit and produce on hand, and so will I. I did find like one thing of potatoes that they could eat. So this is not organic. I do try to usually do that, but at least it doesn't have like those main ingredients that we can't eat. And so for my kids, when I'm looking for something quick, it's at least a better option than like running through the drive-thru and getting French fries. For snack stuff, are you running the show, Miss Mary? Are you running the show? So one of the things that was okay were these oven-baked pork rinds, which Sean really likes. I am not sure if I like. I'm just trying to come out. So, but he really likes these. The Cara brand stuff is usually good as well. These Good Natured Vegetables. So one of the things that I don't like is like, so I've got potatoes and potato starch and stuff, but for us, like, because we can't always have like the other stuff, they can still have this. This is really good with hummus. This is the Cara Original, the chips. These are great with hummus or guacamole. And so are these. So snap peas, cucumber rounds, peppers cut into strips. Those are all great for like dipping in hummus or in guacamole or something like that. Green apples. Oh, don't throw them on the floor, Mary. There she goes. And then I'll show you a few other things that I found that I'm going to be finding a lot more use for. So I would have found that pepperoni where it didn't belong. It's quinoa. So one of the things I'm doing to transition my kids to the taste of quinoa when they're not used to it is I'm just mixing it with a rice that they normally have. So if they're adding the quinoa, like half quinoa, half rice, they're getting a lot of the benefit of it, but it tastes like more like what they're used to, you know? So I'll add this to rice and soups and other things as well. So this is a really good substitute. And then I add chai seeds to my smoothies, my Arbonne smoothies all the time. But I'm going to try having them more like an oatmeal or with oatmeal and stuff as well, because they're just like a superfood. And I don't know why it took me so long to try them, but try them. And then just got like more tuna. Sean's a big sardine lover. I am not. And then I had gotten some of their trail mixes that do not have the corn or the wheat or the egg or the dairy that we can't have, but are still like a good snack that will hold us over. So just look at the ingredients. This one has cashews, like seasoned cashews. And then these sunflower seed kernels I'll be using a lot on salads or in other things, or just as a snack because they're just super good for you and your brain. Okay. Real life, one of the things I was really missing was I've totally fallen off the wagon and gotten addicted to iced coffee again. Like, it's just so easy for me to stop with the kids. And I think it's like a mental thing. Like, this is something I do for myself as a mom. I go and get an iced coffee when I'm driving around and like, I feel like so happy somebody made me something. And I feel so good that somebody else made something for me. I don't know. It's a mental thing. Even if half the time they get my order wrong. But that was something that I was really struggling with having to give up because I can't handle dairy. And one of the things I noticed is not so much like the, well, some of like the physical feelings of that you get from a dairy intolerance. But for me, I realized, and for one of my kids, it affects us really like neurologically. Like, I cannot handle certain proteins in the milk, and having dairy makes me feel like irritable, angry. Like, I find like I'll lose my temper more often if I've had too much dairy. I know it sounds weird, but if I have pizza, like, I'm gonna have a meltdown afterwards. And so I noticed the same thing for one of my kids. Like, we just don't do well with some of the proteins in dairy. And so I started doing more research on that, and there's some other reasons that occurs. but I was being a big baby about it and just missing like being told I couldn't have something. I just wanted a nice coffee. And so a whole bunch of times I would go and have one anyway, and I'd always regret it afterwards because I was like, that made me feel crummy, or I lost my temper because I like can't control it as much neurologically with like how it affects me. So today I found Califia cold brew. So I've had Califia almond milk before, and it's probably one of my favorite ones. But this is their cold brew coffee, and this one happens to be peppermint mocha. Somebody got a boo-boo. Anyhow, the peppermint mocha one, all I did was go through the drive-thru and order ice. I mean, I can just bring ice, but I grabbed ice and I poured it directly in it, and this is so much better for me than a regular iced coffee, and I can totally substitute with that. I'm all right with that. You thirsty? So that was one of my finds that helped me get over some of the grief I had over giving up a particular item. So I think it's also way cheaper. I can get like 4 iced coffees out of one of those containers, maybe 5 even. And so it's going to cost me like $1, or like $1, be somewhere between $1 and $1.50 for a coffee, as opposed a big iced coffee without, as opposed to what I normally would spend. So, anyhow, those are just some of the things that we found, some suggestions. I'm looking at my table and I'm realizing I also have pomegranates, which I got at BJ's, and they were only like $2.50 each or something like that, or $2 each. And I just recently started eating pomegranates, and they're so good. And I kind of like that, like, it takes a little while to get through one, so I feel like I'm actually having a snack, because I tend to eat too fast. But so that's kind of what we're going through right now. A lot of the stuff that we're able to eat, we really can't, and so we're making a lot of those changes. So I'll probably be sharing some of those things for any of you that are curious or that are looking for other suggestions. You want an apron? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to go and take care of these kids, put them to bed. But I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Like, subscribe, and share the channel, and I'll be putting out some more videos soon when I get a chance, right? When I get a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Say come.
Mommy, it's on my birthday.
What do you want for your birthday?
One of those.
You want a phone and a phone stand? Okay, maybe when you're older, a little older.
Okay.
Okay, say goodbye to everybody.